Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Evening Bahamas coming up tonight. Just how much the Inter-American Development Bank is lending the Bahamas for COVID-19 vaccines. United States Congress members pen a letter to the Prime Minister. We'll tell you why. Plus, unrest brewing at the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, the Bahamas is set to receive millions of dollars to help fund the country's COVID-19 vaccine strategy. The funds will come in the form of a $20 million loan facility provided by the Inter-American Development Bank. According to the bank's president, Mauricio Claver Caron, it will allow this country to have its vaccination execution unit developed and readied within the first quarter of 2021 for when the country receives its vaccines. Jasmine Brown reports.
The IDB president gave a detailed breakdown of how the funds would be spent as he spoke with the press during a virtual meeting.
The needs that we've initially assessed is $20 million. But we are willing, we put aside $1 billion for the region. And Bahamas is one of our strongest partners in this endeavor that we already have partnered in order to create kind of the whole infrastructure surrounding the vaccine acquisition and implementation. Therefore, if they need more, obviously we will be able to help and be able to provide so.
According to the IDB president, $4.5 million of the $20 million will go directly to the purchase of vaccines. He added that after the purchase of vaccines, the remainder of the $20 million will support the work of an executing agency that will be created in the first quarter and the development of infrastructure to support the vaccine's distribution. Claver Caron added that he could not say how many vaccines the country's $4.5 million could purchase, but explained that vaccine options could vary and are still being worked out through various stakeholders.
We first and foremost want to make sure that our borrowing nations, that our members have access to the vaccine, that they are able to do so, and that they have all the support they need in order to make sure that that infrastructure surrounding the vaccine is met. In addition to, we want to make sure that within the countries that the most vulnerable populations also have access to the vaccine so that it is distributed in an equitable fashion.
The IDB mobilized $1 billion for its member countries in the region to ensure that they are prepared to vaccinate their citizens against COVID-19. Claver Caron says the IDB has been working hand in hand with government officials in developing the COVID-19 vaccination program.
We're going to create an executing agency for it that's going to strengthen the Ministry of Health as well in order so that we can begin the activities at the latest by the end of the first quarter next year.
He also explained that the loan has a maturity of 25 years and low interest and financing rates. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Thanks, Jasmine. Well, a United States congressman has written to Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis to urge him to put a stop to Bahamas Petroleum Company's plans to drill an exploratory oil well. Jared Higgs tells us the Fort Lauderdale-based congressman has the support of 15 of his congressional colleagues and many Bahamians.
If we mess up the oil, where we can get seafood from? That's all I have to say.
A group of United States congressmen had a lot more to say on the matter. In a letter to Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, penned by Congressman Alcee Hastings of Fort Lauderdale and endorsed by 15 other members of Congress, he writes, "We believe you should reconsider the agreement established between your government and BPC to protect the beauty and longevity of our fragile and shared ecosystems, the economies that depend on them, and the future of our planet. It's a concern for those congressmen in Florida and Bahamians."
No, I support that.
No, why not?
I just think I support it.
Here at home, there has been widespread opposition to BPC's plans. The Prime Minister himself said last week that he opposes oil drilling.
I am totally against oil drilling in our waters. Totally.
Government claims it is bound by its agreement with BPC and it has no other choice but to allow the company to move ahead with its plans. BPC's chosen drill ship, Stena Ice Max, is currently in Bahamian waters. some question what the Bahamas would gain.
We all want to connect. See, the whole point about this ain't nothing in it for us. The common man ain't getting $1 from the oil drilling thing.
The environmental groups Waterkeeper Bahamas Limited and Coalition to Protect Clifton Bay filed legal action intended to stop BPC from drilling. Supporters of the exploratory drilling say it is worthwhile to see if the country has any oil, then make a decision. But the congressman warned that a spill like the Deepwater Horizon disaster in 2010 would be a catastrophe that would undoubtedly require financial assistance from neighbors, including the United States, to address any spill.
It's not good for our seabed, and for the oil, could explode and destroy lives. It happened.
The letter from the Americans also calls Dr. Minnis out on his comments made at the United Nations last year, where he cited the devastating impact carbon emissions have had on small island states like the Bahamas. It adds that congressmen who have signed on are ready to work with the government. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
While residents on Grand Bahama also voicing their concerns as BPC moves closer to exploratory offshore drilling in Bahamian waters. Giorgio Bain has that.
This segment brought to you by Grand Bahama Power.
The Stana Ice Max is currently in Bahamian waters. Taquan Swain says the entire deal is a reality check for Bahamians, as he lamented that the deal simply doesn't add up.
We as Bahamians, we're so in the shadow of this. All we're doing is taking the word from the administration to say that this agreement is so binding. It has to be done. My hands are tied. But at the same time, your hands are so tied that you're willing to risk our sea life, risk our land ecosystem, risk our coral reefs, our whole marine life.
Tyrone Smith says while he believes that oil is a natural resource here in the Bahamas, he doesn't think drilling for it is worth the risk.
I believe in diversifying our economy, but I don't believe, because of the danger, there's so much danger that can be done and so much damage that can be done to our coral, our reef, our natural resources. I don't think it's worth going for it.
Darren Cooper is against oil drilling 100% because he said Grand Bahama is no stranger to oil mishaps, and he's concerned that the government will not hold those responsible accountable.
I remember years ago, even at the one of the oil refinery companies here in Grand Bahama, we've had countless of oil spill, and there was nothing ever said about the oil spill. What was the penalties? What was the repercussion?
Cooper added that he doesn't buy the Prime Minister's remarks that his hands were tied with the deal and that he's against oil drilling.
No, you may not have been the cabinet that would have made such approval, but you are the cabinet, you are the government, and you could stop, review, and cancel because you are the government.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Giorgio Bain.
In other news, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis and Deputy Prime Minister Desmond Bannister flying to Long Island today to officially open 2 infrastructure projects on that island. The first, a $407,000 bridge for Newton's Key. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis says the original bridge was constructed in the 1980s and was destroyed by hurricanes and harsh marine conditions. The Prime Minister also officially opening Monument Road today. Dr. Minnis says infrastructure and development cannot be New Providence or Nassau-centric.
One of my greatest missions as Prime Minister is to ensure that every major island in our archipelago has the infrastructure and amenities needed to improve your quality of life. Such infrastructure is also essential for your economic and your social development.
The new $1.2 million Monument Road project covers 2 miles of road leading up to the Columbus Monument, a popular landmark on the island commemorating the landing of Christopher Columbus on Long Island. A cool start to the weekend outside our studios tonight. Here's Greg Thompson in the Weather Center. Greg?
Thanks, Christina. In our first look at weather, we take a look at current conditions outside our studios. Really nice weather out there. Temperatures are in the upper 60s to low 70s, 69 degrees outside our studios right now with partly cloudy skies, a bit on the breezy side. Your winds are out of the northeast at 11 knots. Feels like temperature 69 degrees Fahrenheit. Satellite view around the area. Frontal boundary now across the central Bahamas with some cloudiness as well as some isolated showers, possibly an isolated thunderstorm. Behind that, high pressure will be ushering a nice cool change for the next couple of days. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, Bahamas Communications and Public Officers Union members upset at the BCB. We'll tell you why. How you can tee off like a pro with Bahamar. But first, one tertiary institution is reporting an uptick in online enrollment. That's coming up when our news returns.
This year has been hard on all of us. Many have lost friends and loved ones to COVID-19, which has changed the world and the way we live. From the first case to the second wave, our news has been there with you, and we will continue to stand with you this holiday season,
sharing in your stories of tragedy and triumph. Christmas may look and feel very different this year, but its meaning of love and hope remains the same. From our family to yours, Merry Christmas and a safe and prosperous New Year.
Unrest brewing at the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas as the union responsible for those employees is threatening industrial action as early as next week. Bethany McDermott has the details.
One of the biggest problems that I've always had with the management at this communication place is communication with its members, its staff members.
BCPOU members at the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas are threatening to walk off the job as early as next week. This, as union leader Dino Roll says, the corporation has failed to meet its contractual obligation.
My members are prepared to do any and everything to get management's attention to address those outstanding matters.
These obligations, Roll said, include a lump sum payment that was due in April and a sick incentive that's due at the end of the year. Roll said they've attempted to work with management to resolve the outstanding matters given the economic climate, but he said it wasn't successful.
My members here at the Broadcasting Corporation, they see it as a blatant disrespect, disregard for what they've endured over the past several months.
Roll was flanked by fellow trade union leaders like Boosuwu President Dwayne Woods and Water and Sewage Managerial Union President Ednil Roll. Members of those unions went on work to rule this past Wednesday. According to Woods, this is just a prelude to stage 2.
We will collaborate over the weekend, and you will see the trade union movement coming out in united force.
Also out in support of the union was F&M Senator Jamal Moss, who, when questioned about his attendance at today's press conference, said he is a union man. Well, the corporation's chairman and general manager came out to respond to the union's concern, and the chairman made it clear that his concern is to ensure that all staff members remain employed during these tough economic times.
We are trying to do everything we can in these difficult financial times that are very challenging for the government and the country as a whole to keep the corporation financially sustainable and thereby to ensure that the staff continue to be employed. And in that vein, I would just like to point out that there are a lot of people unemployed in this country right now, a lot of whom can't even put food on their table.
The BCPOU president quickly hit back, noting that it's always been the union's intention to keep workers employed. He, however, noted that his comments had an intimidating flavor.
I sense there's a sense of threat in Mr. Gottlieb's statement. But I'm not swayed by that at all. I'm not swayed by that.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
Well, the pandemic has caused enrollment in college courses to decline, according to BTVI President Robert Robertson. Robertson says he's spoken to colleagues around the world who are experiencing the same thing, but he notes something interesting, an uptick in enrollment for non-traditional courses.
Our traditional student enrollment is down about 22% at BTVI, but our non-traditional enrollment, kind of short courses, is up. Because we see a lot of people are obviously concerned about employment. And so they're not really looking to get a full academic program as they might have been pre-pandemic. But generally our enrollments are pretty strong.
Robertson says BTVI has been training teachers who now have to teach virtually, which he says has not been easy for some. A recent survey of BTVI students shows that many of them prefer online classes. Moving forward, Robertson says the Technical Institute will use a hybrid model for learning.
Be virtual, obviously, in the spring of 2021. We will try to supplement it and have blended courses where if you're in technology in particular, you can come to campus and do boot camps. Obviously managing with respect to the social distancing and health protocols. But my sense is that education generally, and in particular in the Bahamas, will move more aggressively towards virtual learning as a result of the last year's experience.
In other news, as restaurants at Baha Mar reopen to locals on Sunday, so does the Royal Blue Golf Course. Our Kyle Joaquin got to tee off with a golf pro. Take a look.
Putting feet, putting knees, some forward bend, and then a little bit back and a little bit through. Okay.
Your first time picking up a golf club is pretty fun, but it's even better when you have the help of golf pro Georgia Rowe.
We are currently on hole 13. I'm playing my shot into hole number 18, one of my favorite views here on the golf course. And so this backside has so much undulation and slope here versus the front nine, which is more flat and wide open.
Rowe is the assistant golf professional at Royal Bloom, home to the Jack Nicklaus Golf Course. She says they've made quite a few changes to ensure all golfers are safe and following all of the necessary precautions.
We've got single riders for each golf cart, unless you're from the same family. We make sure that we sanitize and clean each golf set, right? Just to make sure that we've got everything as safe as possible. We've also got hand sanitizer stations placed strategically throughout the clubhouse here.
So with safety measures in place, here came the start of my lesson.
Get a little quick little practice swing here. Good. I'm just gonna go right at that bunker there. Yeah, putting feet, putting knees, some forward bend. That looks great. So I'm gonna set the putter right here for you. And let's take it back a little bit. Putt it softly. And that's it. It's better putt than mine.
And just when I thought I was so close I couldn't possibly miss.
A little bit of forward bend, and we'll start the putter right behind it. Great, okay, nice and soft. All right, so far scores 2. Let's hit it again. So once it touches the noodle, the ball will be holed. Oh, it didn't touch the noodle. I love it. This is great stuff. Keep on going.
We even switched things up a bit, where my cameraman Sherrod got to try it out, and I got behind the camera.
Person with the lowest score, right, will win this short putting game. All right, that's the second shot. All you have to do is make this one to beat Kyle. All right, the ball has touched the noodle. So.
Yep, I lost. But you too can give golf a go at Baha Mar's Jack Nicklaus Golf Course. One must make a reservation at bahamar.com/golf and present proof of a negative COVID-19 antigen test. For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
That was a good try, Kyle. When our news comes back from the break, we'll tell you why some resort workers are giving thanks and the Governor General praises health heroes on Grand Bahama. That's coming up when our news returns.
This year has been hard on all of us. Many have lost friends and loved ones to COVID-19, which has changed the world and the way we live. From the first case to the second wave, our news has been there with you, and we will continue to stand with you this holiday season,
sharing in your stories of tragedy and triumph. Christmas may look and feel very different this year, but its meaning of love and hope remains the same. From our family to yours, Merry Christmas and a safe and prosperous New Year.
Atlantis employees are getting into the Christmas spirit, pulling up and driving off with vouchers for their usual ham and turkey. The resort facilitating a drive-through system for employees, some of whom have already returned to work.
It's valued at $70. It is redeemable at any of the AML locations here in New Providence. So that means if you want to go to Fresh Market, Solomon's, all of that, you can certainly go and pick up your things. Now, traditionally, people call it ham and turkey voucher, but of course, there's some people who would prefer not to eat ham and turkey. So at least now you have an opportunity to redeem it for $70 of the items of your choice.
Employees wore their masks and showed up with their company ID as they drove up. Guest services agent Cheryl Bowe says she's grateful that despite the rough year, the company is still giving back to its employees.
I am very happy and I appreciate Atlantis making the effort to keep smiles on our faces. Yeah, with just the whole customer experience, I miss that. I miss the camaraderie.
I just want to say I really glad how Atlantis treat the staff. They make us feel welcome and feel appreciated. I miss work. And I'm riding with one of my team members now, so you know, we're still a family. We can't wait to get back to work.
I believe it's a wonderful and grateful thing. We should appreciate and be grateful.
Governor General His Excellency C.A. Smith this week touring the newly renovated Rand Memorial Hospital, thanking healthcare workers on that island for their endurance following Hurricane Dorian and the pandemic.
While this pandemic may have shaken the foundation of the Grand Bahama Health Service, clearly it did not destroy the spirit of the staff of the Grand Bahama Hospital staff.
The Rand received extensive damage during Hurricane Dorian, forcing healthcare workers on Grand Bahama to work with reduced and limited resources during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's why the Governor General says Grand Bahama Health Services employees are the real MVPs.
You, health professionals, are indeed the real heroes. And if I were to use sports reference, you, the professionals and allied workers of the Grand Bahama Health Services, are the real MVPs.
Will it be a cool Christmas this year? Greg Thompson has our extended weather forecast coming up. Plus, 4 people will be dashing through the aisles on Monday. The details when our news returns.
This year has been hard on all of us. Many have lost friends and loved ones to COVID-19, which has changed the world and the way we live. From the first case to the second wave, our news has been there with you, and we will continue to stand with you this holiday season,
sharing in your stories of tragedy and triumph. Christmas may look and feel very different this year, but its meaning of love and hope remains the same. From our family to yours, Merry Christmas and a safe and prosperous New Year.
Welcome back to our news. Will it be another beautiful weekend? Here's Greg over in the weather studio with a look ahead.
Thanks again, Christina. In our second look at weather, we take a look at the satellite view around the area. Front boundary now pushing into the central Bahamas with some isolated showers along its boundary, but the front is actually weakening. High pressure is building in behind that from the north. That will usher in a nice change. Breezy conditions tomorrow, but those nice cool temperatures will continue into the weekend. Your boating forecast for all areas tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will be out of the north to northeast tonight, becoming more northeast to east tomorrow at 15 to 20 knots. Seas running 4 to 6 feet over the ocean. High tide will be at 10:54 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. Now look at your extended forecast through Wednesday. That's a look at our weather. Have a safe weekend, everybody. Christina?
Thanks, Greg. Well, the Rev Feel the Magic Christmas giveaway is coming to a climax on Monday, with 4 lucky customers getting the last chance of the season to dash through the aisles of Solomon Supercenter. All month long, Cable Bahamas has been giving its customers a chance to win cash and prizes for the holiday season.
With the Rev Grocery Dash, it is kind of like Guy's Grocery Game, supermarket sweepstakes. It's exactly what it sounds like. You get a grocery cart, you have 2 minutes to get as much grocery as you can, however you can. We partnered with Solomon's on this, and so far we've already had quite a few. We did one earlier in the year in Nassau a couple weeks ago, and then we did one in Grand Bahama as well, where 4 winners got to win. So our final 4 winners are going to be selected this week, so this is the time to sign up.
Customers can also win a staycation, BPL vouchers, and other prizes when they sign up for or switch to Trio.
You have to either sign up for or upgrade to Rev Trio, and it's literally as simple as that. You're automatically entered to win. But again, that's not the only way that you can win. We've had people come in who've won the golden ticket, and they spun and won. We had a customer win $2,500 last week on Facebook Live. So this entire campaign has been all about giving back. We know it's been a super hard year for people, and so this has been our way of celebrating our customers while they do the things that they normally do.
Thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night for our news weekend. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.